Multitasking is one of those buzzwords that gets bandied about at the moment, and you've probably heard it, and you may have even tried to do it. And in this video I'm going to talk you through the right and the wrong ways of multitasking. Now, first of all, what is multitasking? Well, according to dictionary.com, there are several definitions. But the one that we're interested in is the second one, which says of one person to perform two or more tasks simultaneously. And if you've ever tried to rub your stomach and pat your head at the same time, you'll know that doing two things that are different at the same time is not particularly easy. So let's talk through the right and the wrong ways of doing multitasking. In fact, let's start off with the wrong way, because this is the way a lot of people approach multitasking. So first of all, you start on one task, and then you notice there's another task that needs doing. So you stop doing the first task and you start on the second one. Then you realize that the deadline for the first task is fast approaching, so you stop doing the second task and go back to the first. And you finish the first task in a rush and you complete the second one in a similar manner. Then you notice that there's something wrong with the first task, so you go back and correct it. The second task is now overdue, so you work late into the night to complete it. And once that's done, you're stressed and exhausted and you collapse into bed. But you wake with a start in the small hours of the morning with the sickening realization that you've omitted something crucial from one of the tasks, and of course you've already sent it off to the client by email, or you've uploaded it to your workspace so that they've already got it before you realized that something's wrong. So you have to phone or email the client in the morning to apologize, and you can usually kiss any repeat business goodbye. Okay, that's the wrong way to do it. Now let's take a look at the right way. Well, first of all, you want to evaluate each task and prioritize. So you need to decide what's most important and what can wait. Then you want to work out what you can do yourself and what can be outsourced, because that's a good way of multitasking, is to do one job yourself and give another job to somebody else. And you want to list your tasks in the order of priority. Again, that's what you do after you've evaluated each task. Now, can you complete one task while another one is being processed? For example, let's take these videos. I'm recording them all today. Tomorrow, I'm going to edit them all. And what I'll do is I'll render half of them. I'll do the first 5 videos and I'll render them. And then once that's finished rendering, once they've finished batch rendering, I'll copy them onto a memory stick and I'll watch them back on my laptop. Now, while I'm doing that, I'll set my editing software up to batch render the second batch of videos. So the next 5 videos will render while I'm checking through the first. Now, it takes longer to render than it does to watch, so I'll fill the time by doing something else, like phone calls or sending emails from my laptop. 2 things at the same time. That's what I mean by can you complete one task while another one is being processed. Then you want to work out how much time you'll need for each task and add half again as much to it. I suppose it's human nature, and I'm as guilty of it as the next man, but you tend to underestimate the amount of time you're going to need for each task, especially if you're doing it for the first time. So when you're working out your task list, you want to work out how much time you think you'll need and then add half again, and then you'll know you've got enough time to perform each task. And you want to choose compatible tasks, things that are similar that you can work on one after the other. And then alternate tasks, breaking off from one to begin the other at a convenient place in the process. And you want to work on one thing at a time. Even though you're multitasking, you want to give your attention to one thing at a time. And you want to drop any unnecessary tasks. And also, don't rush if you get behind. Work at a sustainable pace. And if you get behind, Don't try and make the time up by working more quickly, because then you'll make mistakes and then you'll have to go back and do it again, and that just pushes you further and further behind. So if you get behind, then look at some other way of making up the time by dropping any unnecessary tasks, for example. And finally, try not to overwhelm yourself, because if you try and do too much at the same time, the brain just simply can't take it. It gets overloaded and you'll get confused, and then things will go seriously astray. Of course, one thing about multitasking is you must keep yourself very organized. And in the next video, I'll share my top 10 tips for doing just that.